Now, that state, this state, is all knowingness is. Faith can bring you there as a springboard. But knowingness, shall we say, is the great equalizer. It will supersede every other state immediately when you allow yourself to simply remember, I am. And that you recognize in that state, there is no question about that, all other questions in that moment will dissolve. You will go back to zero, back to now, back to here. And then from there, look at whatever situation you were experiencing before. From this state, look at the situation. You will begin to see it differently. It will change your perspective. And you will see the illusion you were in. States of knowingness allow you to perceive more clearly any state of illusion you may have been under. So anytime you feel fear, doubt, confused, stressed, struggling, striving, at odds, sad, remember, I am. And from that state, without question, look again at the circumstance from an attached, detached point of view. And understand the illusion that was there, that is no longer there. We will, during this encounter, demonstrate a few other ways to lock in the idea of this knowingness. For it is really easy to create, very simple to create. And there are many, many ways to arrive at this state, because all paths lead here. All paths lead here and now. Because there is no when else, there is nowhere else. You can come here quickly, you can come here slowly. We are talking about ideas now that will allow you to experience a quick transition to this state of knowingness, so that you can come from here when you observe anything else you have done. Come from the power of the illusion and look at the illusion of power you were under before. And see it for the illusion it was. Now, let's have 2 volunteers. You. Come up. Stand one there, stand one there. On either side. Facing each other. Now, does anyone have a piece of paper? Please provide one piece of paper. Does anyone have a writing implement? All right. Someone take the piece of paper. At the top of one side of the piece of paper, make a large dot. Do the same on the other side, at the same top. Make a large dot, so that both dots are at the same top end. Have you done this? All right. Place the paper in the channel's hand with the dot facing up. Is the dot up?
Dot is now in your hand. So.
With the dot up. Thank you. Is the dot up?
Yes.
Can the two volunteers see the dots on their respective sides of the paper?
Yes. You guys want to stand up on the...
You may stand differently if it helps you. Face each other, look at the paper. Do you see your respective dot that is facing you?
Yes.
All right. When I ask you, I will point this way first, then that. Please answer the question I will ask. You first, you second. All right? This is a single event. It is one event. But it has completely two different outcomes. Do you see the dot?
Yes. Yes.
When I ask you, tell me which way the dot is turning, left or right.
Left. Right.
Once more, out loud. When I ask you, tell me left or right, which way is the dot turning?
Left. Right.
But it's a single event. All I am doing is moving the paper this way.
Forward.
You both agree that it is forward?
From your point of view. Perspective.
Yes. But from your perspective, it is moving left.
Yes.
And from yours, it is moving right.
Right. Yes.
Thank you. You may sit down. Now, the understanding here is relatively obvious. You can have a single event that actually has two completely different perceptions. Both are true. Both are true, depending on your perspective. So, when, from your reality, you see things moving, we see things moving right. So if you are saying, all I see is this thing moving left, negative, let's just say, what do you need to do to see it moving right or positively? Look at it from our point of view. That's all you need to do. It's that simple. Change your perspective, you change the outcome. Either and both are true. It's just a matter of what you prefer to experience. We prefer to look at the paper from this side. That's all there is to it. And as soon as you decide to look at the paper from the same point of view that we are sharing with you, you will see the same reality we do, even if the event hasn't changed. I am still moving the paper this way. But you will always only see it going to the left if you remain in that perspective. Likewise, if you change your perspective to our point of view, even when the event is the same, you can only see it moving to the right. No other perspective is possible from our point of view. No other effect is possible from our point of view. The only way you can see this dot moving to the left again is to go back to your other perspective. So anytime you see it moving left, that tells you I must be looking at it from that perspective. If I want to see it moving to the right, I have to change my perspective. Is this clear? Yes. This is now something you know. It's obvious, isn't it? So obvious you don't even question it, do you? Is that dot going to look going to the left to Bashar? No, it's only going to look like it's going to the right to him. You don't even question it. It's obvious. That is knowingness. You understand the nature of this mechanism. It's clear to you. And as soon as you understand the nature of the mechanism, there is no more doubt. There is no more question. It just becomes completely and utterly obvious. Does it not? Did any doubt at all even enter your mind which way the dot was moving from my perspective? Why? It was obvious which way it was moving from my perspective, wasn't it? When you allow yourself to understand the laws as they exist, then the true mechanism as it exists with full understanding becomes obvious. There is no more question. There is no more doubt. You don't go, whoa, how is this supposed to happen? How is this supposed to work? It just becomes obvious to you. It becomes your nature. It becomes something you no longer question. It just becomes who you are. That is all it becomes. And you can, from that place, you can, from that position in life. What? Fly! Yes. You can fly wherever you wish to go, however you wish to go, because nature unfolds before you. Your nature unfolds before you in an obvious way. An obvious way. Let it be that obvious, because it is. It's as obvious as the fact you exist. It's as obvious as the fact that the dot looks like it's going one way to you and another way to me, even though it's the same event, even though nothing else has changed. It's that obvious. Understanding the four laws, understanding the nature of what it means to be a part of an infinite, all that is creation. Understanding these things, understanding the nature, the structure of these things will make everything as clear to you as these demonstrations were. It becomes that obvious. So that when, many times we have heard humans in these interactions going, but Bashar, how do you know that? Because from our perspective, it's as obvious to us as you walking up to a red rose and saying, it's red. It's that obvious. Can't you see? It's simply red. It's that obvious from our perspective. So this whole idea of shifting into a state of knowingness and going beyond faith is eliminating the wondering and allowing yourself to move into a state of obvious recognition so that everything becomes absolutely apparent. And you can speak from that knowing state with respect, with authority on your own life. That's the whole idea. I am no more an authority than anyone, but I speak from a place of self-authorization, from complete conviction, because, not because we have any special secret, but because we come from a state of being in which the universe, the nature of existence is simply obvious to us. That's all. And that's all we are attempting to impart to you, is the obviousness of existence. Just as you know it is obvious you exist, just as you know it is obvious that the dot moves one way to you and another to me, even though the paper only moves one way, just that is that obvious to you, The nature of existence is that obvious to us, that transparent, that apparent, that plain, and can be to you if you come from that same state. This is what knowingness is, and why it moves you beyond belief, beyond faith. So, does that make sense? Are you beginning at this moment to feel that things can be a little more obvious? All right. That's a good beginning. So then, let us review the 4 laws from this point of view. We have already begun with the first. You exist. When you understand this fully, it becomes automatically apparent, again, that there is only now, that time is an illusion, although the experience of it is real when you create it in your consciousness. But what that means is that relative to the concept of time, if you exist now, you always have and you always will. Because existence is the only quality you have in the now. And it's not that you did exist in the past or will exist in the future. You can say those things and experience it that way coming from within the illusion in your consciousness. But from the absolute state of knowingness, you would understand that you are the past. You are the future. That these things are in you. You are not in them. These are concepts within your consciousness, and that they exist here and now with you, because you exist here and now, and that's all there is. So you are eternal, you are infinite, and please. Now, let us take a moment, because again, this is something we have experienced from humans in our conversations over and over again. It seems that many of you do not really have a clear grasp on the dictionary definition of the word infinite or unconditional. Infinite means infinite. It means anything and everything that you can imagine must, by definition, exist somehow, somewhere, in some aspect of all that is. Anything and everything. Yes, we understand that various things may not be relevant to a local experience as you have created it. Nevertheless, it doesn't discount the fact that you are an aspect of an infinite existence. Infinite. Infinite. So if you exist now, which you obviously do, and if you are, in fact, an expression of an already existing infinite creation, you have, right here and right now, the ability to access that infinity in whatever way serves the idea you are creating yourself to be within the local experience. You have the ability to access anything that is relevant, everything that is relevant to the definition of your life as you have created it in your local experience of existence. But even though you may experience only what appears to be relevant for the theme of the life you have locally created, nevertheless, in that experience, you are still supported by the totality of infinity. In order to have a local experience such as you are having, you have to be supported by an infinite existence. If it wasn't infinite, if it was closed, if it was exclusive to some concept, you couldn't experience your local reality at all. The only way you can actually have a localized experience is if it's supported by an infinity that allows for any experience to be had that you can imagine, somewhere, somehow. And you still, even within your localized experience, have the ability with your imagination to draw upon those other infinite experiences to whatever degree serves your localized one. It's called imagination. It's the doorway, it's the gateway to all of infinity, to be interpreted through your consciousness in whatever way serves you. But the point is that you know that in order to be able to do that, in order to have an imagination that can conjure up things that don't exist in your reality, that aren't immediately experienced in your reality, it means you're tapping into an infinity that supports your ability to have a local experience and still provides you with a window on the rest of infinity. That's a powerful window, more powerful than you have imagined with your imagination. The paradox is that you can actually also curtail how you use your imagination to make it seem as if your imagination is more limited than it is. But the only reason you can do that is because you can imagine it to be so. That's the paradox. And again, let it be obvious, as we have said, you are unconditionally loved so much that you are actually then allowed to think you're not unconditionally loved. That's how loved you are. If you understand the power of that paradox, again, more of the nature of the structure of existence will become apparent to you, obvious to you. And you will awaken to the fact that the only reason you experience the limitations that you do is because you have decided to, for one reason or another. But when you come from a knowing state that you have done that, then it becomes obvious you can do something else. And being aware, just by itself, being aware of the fact that you can do something else is all that is necessary to give you permission to do something else. Because were it not so, existence would be conditional, and it's not. It's unconditional. So learn the definition of unconditional. It's not, yes, it's unconditional except for these conditions. You're the ones supplying the conditions, not existence. Existence is unconditional because it allows you unconditionally to supply conditions if you want. The only way that's possible is if existence itself is unconditional. Because if it wasn't unconditional, it might not allow you to impose conditions. The fact that you can actually impose conditions proves that existence itself is unlimited and unconditional. Let it become obvious. That's the knowing state. Is this making sense to you? In that sense, it is similar to the concept of self-imposed karma, self-created karma, in that if you create conflictive vibrations, frustration vibrations, anger vibrations in the first situation, then the next time you find yourself in a similar situation, it may not necessarily come back to you in exactly the same way, but come back to you it will. Because you have, in a sense, associated that circumstance with that frequency and will automatically find yourself at the receiving end of the frequency that you gave off. The idea is that you may not receive it in the same way. Individuals may not necessarily curse at you, as you say, as you may have done the first time to them. But you may experience it either that way, or you may experience all of a sudden an overwhelming sense, perhaps now that you are in their shoes, doing exactly the same thing that you cursed them out for before the first time. You may feel a sense of overwhelming shame. You may feel a sense of guilt. Not that you deserve to, not that you need to, but the idea is that this energy will come back to you in some way, for everything requires balance. And if you leave a deposit of that vibration connected to such a circumstance, then when you find yourself crossing that wavelength again, you will pick up the baggage that you left before. Because it is associated to you. It is keyed to you. It came from you. It belongs to you. It will come back to you. The idea is that, again, it may come back to you in a variety of ways. Either it will be literally reflected in exactly the same way that you gave it off, or you will feel it or experience it in your life in some manifestation that is indicative of the same vibrational level. Things suddenly may not work too well for you. Things may start to fall apart. You may feel certain emotions that are unpleasant for you. All because, to begin with, you allowed yourself to succumb to a particular vibration that may have really no benefit for you constructively, and in giving it off and associating it and attaching it to that circumstance, then it doesn't allow you to be free to experience that circumstance in the future in a clear and neutral way. Whenever you make such an association, you automatically limit the way in which you can experience that circumstance in the future until you clarify that energy as you have put it in to begin with. Always it is of great benefit and greater benefit to allow yourself the opportunity to experience any circumstance in a fundamentally neutral way, so that you can then decide to extract from the circumstance, no matter how it looks, a fundamentally positive or constructive outcome. But if you have already made the association of negative energy, so to speak, or more precisely, conflictive or discordant energy to that circumstance, then that's what you leave there for yourself to find the next time you cross that particular threshold. And in that sense, it'll be an opportunity for you to learn to render that circumstance into a neutral and fundamentally meaningless set of props that you can then be free to determine what kind of energy, what kind of outcome you would rather prefer to extract from the circumstance, no matter how it looks on the surface, and no matter how previously you may have been taught to think or label or judge or limit that circumstance. I remind you once again, every circumstance is neutral, and every circumstance can serve double duty, positive or negative. The meaning you put into it, the energy vibration you attach to it, is utterly what determines the effect you will get out of it, no matter what anyone else's intentions are. Going into it, you are your own reality, and you have the final say on exactly what frequency you experience and how you translate that frequency in your reality as body, as emotion, as spirit. It is up to you. So be aware of what energy you give off in any given situation, because you will pass that way again, and you will pick up that bag when you come back. Make sure it's baggage you want to carry. Otherwise, let it go so you can travel lightly. And in any given situation, then respond quickly, so that you will not have to then, in a sense, take the time to transform the baggage that was left there by you before. Baggage claim, you may call this if you wish. Now then, we thank you for allowing us to reflect this nuance of vibrational mechanics to you. And in return for the gift that you are giving our civilization at this time in experiencing this co-created interaction, I ask in what way at this time may I and my world be of service to you.
Bashar.